We are recording.
Okay. Hi everyone. Sorry, my text is going off. But this is the meeting of the Ranked Choice Voting Subcommittee. And it's going to be a really brief meeting. We don't have really a lot to talk about. Next meeting will be a much more informative talk. I just was called the meeting just to kind of bring everybody up to date on what's happening and where we're at with that. I did invite Kaya to come. I don't know if she pops in, if she'll be in, just because she's working for us with ranked choice voting. You know, she's a political science major, and this is quite an opportunity for her, and so she's real excited about that, to work on something like this. So what's happened since we last talked is we had our commissioner meeting, and there was questions that came up, and we did vote to invite Greg Kimsey to the commission meeting in October. So that'll happen. I know there was and then I do think that some commissioners have listened to the subcommittee meeting that we had, and we had him here, and we asked the questions that they had sent us of him at that time. So that's good that people are doing that, and I would encourage anybody, if they want to listen to Greg Kimsey's response, to listen to it. It's the 8/24 meeting of this subcommittee, where he answers a lot of questions around ranked choice voting. Since then, I think that just kind of to prioritize my work right now, I talked to Kaya this morning, and I thought I would give her like some ideas on what to kind of research. So she's researching right now some like ballots. I think I may have sent you guys the San Francisco ballot already, the mixed ballots, but she's going to research some more things like that. So like examples to show, real simple examples to show on what a ballot would look like. I know that Commissioner Green sent out some questions that I guess apparently people reached out to him and wanted answered, so he sent them out to Greg Kimsey. And so one of them was around what a ballot would look like. One of them I thought was a really interesting question that I hadn't heard before, was like, how many write-in candidates would you have on a ranked choice? How many slots? I think that when I looked at the San Francisco ballot, they had one empty slot for a write-in. But I will reach out to people as well and see like what is best practice there. Dorothy, have you ever heard of like having a lot of empty write-in candidates? Yeah.
No, that would just get ridiculous, I think.
Yeah. I'm hoping we won't get too tied up in the election administration work, and that we work on deciding on the language and what type of ranked choice for win, or
I know.
Care less about what the ballot looks like. That's really a great problem, and we should allow the election official to figure that out and give as much flexibility as possible to do that. So we just give them the guidelines to what they need to do.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you, Commissioner Lasher. I think, but these are questions that commissioners are asking. So, and it's an interesting thing. But when it really comes down to it, what we are tasked to do is exactly what you say. It's just the policy of implementing it, and not, and giving Greg Kimsey the ability to implement that and have a ballot look the way he wants it. I know he did ask me to send him a couple of ballots because he was kind of curious himself, and so I'll be sending those on as well, just as kind of, because that was So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to see if any of you guys had any suggestions. I did ask Kaya to kind of look into amendment language, like the amendment language from Pierce County. I have the name of the attorney that worked with their county prosecutor to put that together, not Pierce County, with San Juan County. And so I will probably next, sometimes at the end of this week, start a dialogue with him, and I'll CC you guys on all of that about what that amendment language looks like in their home rule charter. And but then I think Kaya is going to be looking at amendment language when it was proposed in like San Francisco and all these other places. And so we as a committee would just have something to kind of look at. But there are a number of places in Washington that it was added to a home rule charter, or at least we have Pierce and now San Juan that are doing that. I believe that am I saying it right? Clallam
Clallam.
has something in the works as well. So that's kind of what I heard, and so we'll see what they're doing with that. So what I have her kind of working at is doing research on that. If you guys can think of anything else that you think that she should kind of research that you guys would like.
I would be interested in hearing the comments either the election officials or the auditor from San Juan County and Clallam County have in terms of, now has Clallam County, have they written the type of language that they want, or I mean, is it in their charter or not?
No, I'm not sure how far along they are, but I can.
Okay, so what? Maybe San Juan County. If she could contact San Juan County because they have written language, and just ask her. Pardon me?
I believe I sent you guys San Juan's amendment language as it's going to appear.
Well, I know I'm talking about the election or the auditor, what their feeling is at this point in time. Is that language working? Are they having difficulties with it? Is there something more that we should be adding to ours?
Okay, well,
so they've
Doug,
hit the rubber on the road.
Before you go on, Doug, it's not in place yet. The language is being written for 2022 ballot. So
for San Juan too. Okay, so nobody has one except Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce had one.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, so Pierce had one, and so, but I can. Greg Kemsey had had good things to say about the San Juan district attorney's office, and he said if they're, and they were kind of involved in the language. So what they've proposed, we should pull that up and if I'll just resend it out to you guys as well. The other thing that I thought was really interesting was, did you guys get to see that ballot for charter review commissioners, where it wasn't a ranked thing, but what they did was they filled in the bubbles for like pick 5. I think I sent that out and I forget what, which was really cool, because when I talked to Fairboat, who sent that to me, there was no significant undervotes or overvotes or anything. Everybody seemed to kind of understand the language, like, oh, I'm supposed to pick 5 and pick 5. So as far as it was encouraging to see that, voters can do a simple thing like, pick 5 or rank pick candidates as well. So as far as my real questions, so since this month we only have a couple of weeks to kind of get some ballot language, right? Or the question that I have for the committee is, we have the 2 options, and it basically comes down to it. We have been given legal advice that yes, we can run ranked choice voting in primaries. So we can, in the primary, have the primary top 2 decided by ranked choice voting. and that can be partisan or nonpartisan. So we can have that ballot language ready to go, should whatever the November 3rd around nonpartisan is or not. And my question, I think, for you guys to think about maybe, and we'll talk more in depth about it next week, is do we have another one ready just for not, if everything's nonpartisan? And that would be, because then you kind of get a more complicated thing. Like then you kind of get like, you know, where you're going to have ranked choice voting and you'll probably bring more than 2 through, and you'll do, you know, so it just gets to be a more, I just want to know what you guys' focus is. So I'm at a point right now, I'm like, okay, simple is best. If we just go, we are going to decide all of the everything. Everybody's going to use ranked choice voting in county for the primary, and that would introduce it to the county. Citizens would get used to it. So when it does happen, which, you know, I think there's many people out there within the state that believe that, you know, eventually ranked choice voting is going to be a voting system that's used widely everywhere. So that would get us going. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, because we can still do the 2 different, and maybe, you know, we probably should do the 2 different amendments, but I just have a feeling that the deciding them in the primary would be something that easily understood, right? So how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I'm still wondering why you need to worry about 2, whether it's partisan, nonpartisan. It's just ranked choice voting, period. And they'll just conduct the election, whether it's partisan or nonpartisan, for county offices. I mean, maybe I'm missing something there.
Yeah, I think that what you're missing is we would have the, see right now, we would have there has to be a in partisan races, the RCW says that you have to have top 2. So there's a top 2 thing. So what you would use is ranked choice voting would be to decide the races, whether they are partisan or nonpartisan, the top 2 that are going to move forward. So
so you're asking the question on whether there's primary or just everything in the general. Is that what you're asking?
right. So if we had ranked choice for the primary, it would just be, yeah. So then everybody, partisan, nonpartisan, that is a county race, would be decided in the primary by ranked choice voting. And that's pretty simple to do. And I think that that's what Auditor Kimsey kind of was going, oh yeah, there's no problem with the primary and you can do that. So that's what that reference was to as well. So so how do you guys feel about that?
My curiosity is, you know, just writing one in general as a like it addresses kind of both scenarios. Just with the curiosity that for some reason, if something, you know, gets all made nonpartisan this time around, but then sometime in the future, some other group is like, well, let's make the counselors nonpartisan or partisan again, or anything by those means. Any of those scenarios can be basically addressed in that one, and it wouldn't require a change of the ranked choice voting amendment, really, or addition to the charter. So that was my curiosity on it, just kind of addressing both scenarios up front for the amendment.
Yeah, for like the primary being decided by ranked choice voting.
Yep, yeah, so that way to know whether or not we need it.
Right. How do you feel about that, Dorothy?
I still kind of like the idea that if we do move the positions to nonpartisan, that we do eliminate the primary, just because it'll make such a nice, clean campaigning. Like, you'll still end up, if we have the opportunity and we don't take it, then we have these nonpartisan races, and the primary is nice, right? Because they're all ranked choice and they have to like be nice to each other in order to become people's second choice or whatever. But then when you get to the general, they can be all nasty again. So like, I just kind of feel like if we have the opportunity to get rid of that nastiness, let's get rid of it. But definitely let's have the amendment for the just in case they don't get moved to nonpartisan.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so that would be
Okay.
something that this week when I kind of hook up with some people that have written ballot language around that, like for, because San Juan County is nonpartisan races, so their amendment language is around nonpartisan races. So I will get all the information and kind of put all that together, like what their ballot language looks like. But yeah, it would be nice to eliminate the primary.
So you're looking in October to present 2 options, and that that we wait until, like the nonpartisan partisan, we just wait until after the election to determine which one we'll bring forward to the commission for final vote. Is that okay?
I think that makes sense, don't you? And then, who knows, you might get more commissioners that even though they went nonpartisan will go, oh no, I just want the primary, but
Mhm.
that would be a decision that they would make in November. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So FAQs, I'll be putting some of these together. I know I was going to transcribe Greg Kimsey's responses to our questions, and I didn't do it last week, but I will do it this week, and we'll have we'll have answers to those questions. I know some of the questions that Commissioner Brink sent to him, he had answered, but I guess they want to hear it from him directly so they can question him. But so I'll have all that together, and any other FAQs, the ones from that I pulled from Fair Vote and stuff, those are advocacy questions. So those are not going to really be like appropriate charter review questions, but I will be able to kind of at least see what people are asking Fair Vote, right? And kind of say, oh, this is like how ranked choice voting works, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'll put together there. Basically about all I have. Does anybody need anything else? I know we have had a
So when is the group going to be having some drafts in front of them to
so
review and go over? What's the
I'm
timeline
looking
for that?
I'm looking at my calendar right now, and so like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings before we present in October. So we want to make sure that commissioners get all of the information, like, we'll put like a packet together before we have that meeting, right, in October, because it'll be a really long meeting if they don't have every, and I think that they deserve to have everything in front of them that we put together. So next week, I'll present what I have. I will try to have and some suggestions on ballot information if I can get it by then, but definitely by the 21st. I'll get it out to you guys for like, oh, what do you think of this? This is in, what do you think of that? And that'll give 2 weeks to kind of go through and speak to people that have done this before and San Juan and these people and see, does that make sense? So that's the 21st, and then we would have actually 2 more meetings after that. Like if I present it to have something by the 21st, kind of a draft for us to go over, we would have the 28th and then the 5th to for us to kind of tweak it before we present it to the commission. Does that sound like it's enough time for you guys to? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's next on the 21st.
yeah, today's the 7th, right? So it'd be
Okay.
it would be
All right.
2 weeks
I'll
from
be in
now.
a different location on that day, but
Where are you going?
I'll try to be able to connect. Well,
No, but we're meeting
before I'm heading back.
yeah. So we're gonna meet every week. Are you still
Yeah,
on the
I
14th?
could do it next week. I could do it next
Okay.
week.
I'll give you,
And
if I have something by then, I can send it to you, Doug. But
yeah,
next week hopefully we'll have Kaya here too, and she'll tell us like what she's
yeah.
found out as well.
I'll be at the same location next week, and then I'm just in transit on the 21st. But
Oh,
when I get to that hotel, I'll try to be able to connect. If I can't, then I'll have to rely on one of you to set up the meeting.
yeah.
But I should be able to.
I have a question, Anthony. If Doug isn't available, and he's the host,
I can do it by phone.
but can he give hosting duties to you or somebody that
I'm pretty sure there's a way to delegate.
Or you could just set up another meeting 5 minutes later or earlier or whatever,
well, it just has
and
to
have
be noticed.
create your own meeting.
Oh,
It
because
has
it
to
has to be
Oh,
posted.
that's right. That's right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I'll ask. I need to connect with county staff anyway on that, so I'll ask them if they know if he can just like delegate a meeting to me or something. So
Oh, that would be,
we have
yeah.
some time on that one, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got a couple weeks.
that might be a good idea to do, Anthony, anyway, just because, in case for some reason, whoever is the host for the
Yeah.
meeting, like to have a co-host. Can you ask him if that's possible to have a co-host on these meetings? Because,
Will do.
for some reason, something happens to someone and they can't make it. Then yeah. Okay, thanks. Thanks for checking on that. Anything else? Anybody? Trying to look, I had notes here. But
Did we get any contacts for lawyers from Fairboat? I know she mentioned that would be
I
an
do.
option for us.
Yeah, and
So
that's
it'd
the
be good
person
to like kind of reach out to them and I guess
yeah.
bring
Yeah.
probably just like send the San Juan one and see.
Well, that is the San Juan one. Fairvote helped with that as well. So
I'm just thinking like how we adjust it to our charter so we fit it into the right places. Because what we need to know is like what section it goes in and like that kind of stuff.
So that's a good question. And so what happens, and what happened with San Juan as well, from my understanding, it's something like this, is this attorney really looks at the home rule charter. Like he looks at the charter and says what our charter says. They looked at San Juan's charter, and then gave recommendations on where to fit things in, just like you're saying. And so that would be somebody that I would be reaching out to this week. That same person that would do that would take a peek at our charter and has experience doing that and is able to do that, which I think is invaluable, Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that'll happen. What was the other? That's about it. I was really really been really encouraged by all of the community support that we are getting on this. And if anybody is on this call or anybody listening, I just want to tell them thank you very much. We appreciate it. It's clearly an item that people care about, and that I feel kind of honored to be a part of it. So thank you guys too. It's different, but it is kind of exciting. Anything else that anybody wants to? Oh my gosh, we're gonna finish this in 30 minutes. I love it. Anything else, Doug? Anything?
No.
Going. Okay, done. I'm gonna call this
Okay.
meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I'll stop the recording.
Okay, thanks.